This is Regina International Airport that is right here in Regina City, Saskatchewan, Canada. I'm gonna be showing you some of the uh, footage of the airport itself. I'm gonna be sharing the history, uh, developmental when it was so um, episode by episode documentation of my trip from here to Canada to Nigeria. So I want you to stick around. I want you to enjoy the travel with me. I want you to feel relaxed, and I promise you it's gonna be entertaining. You're gonna be informative, and you're gonna enjoy some of the very best of the trip that I'm willing to share with you. So guys, this is Regina International Airport and it's located right in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. This airport is serving southern region of the province, and I'm gonna take you down with some history, some informations that rules the airlines that uses this airport facilities. Down the history lane, this airport was opened far back in 1930, and when you look at it up to date, it serves around approximately 1.2 million passengers on an annual basis. This airport offers non-stop flights to major Canadian cities and even a US destination. It's actually the hub for the prairies, the hub for the northern regions of Canada. The airport itself is a single building with modern facilities. It has about 5 gates and 2 major runways. The runways are the one with capacity of 3,000 miles, and the other second one has the 2,400 miles. In these airports, you are free to access the Wi-Fi information to Google, the internet if you are there. There are dining and retail options also in these airports. Of course, like every other airports, there are stores, there are businesses with car rentals and parking services. Car rental being managed by the popular enterprise and the likes. Also, this airport has 2 major airlines that use it as the hub, and the first one is Air Canada and the second one is WestJet. However, we still have Sunwings Airline and Flair Airlines that also uses this airport. And the major destination to the Canadian city from Regina Airport is Toronto, as well as Vancouver and Calgary. And when you're looking about US, this airport also serves international routes. That's why it's called International Airport, and it has a direct flight into Minneapolis, also as Chicago, and it goes directly to Las Vegas. A lot of people goes from here to Phoenix in Arizona. Seasonally, during the peak period or during the summer periods, there are also direct flights from these ports to Mexico and the Caribbean, but just as those one are seasonal routes. This airport, as I said before, was established in 1930, and it was as a regional municipal airport, and it got expanded actually during the World War II as a military operation base. In 1960 to 2000, there were renovation and expansion that were done, to increase the capacity of this airport. And in 1963 precisely, the new name that we all know now as Regina Airport was named. So the airport in 2019, the airport has a passenger that was below 1 million throughput. This information I found this information on Airports Council of Canada. But also there have been some future development. There has been ongoing development and modernization that is going on in these airports. The airport is expanding and is increasing air services and routes day in, year out, which the province is actually enjoying in terms of when it comes to expansion and the revenue they are getting from it. What are the interesting facts? The interesting facts, or the interesting fun fact about this airport, is that the airport, Regina International Airport, is the major cargo hub for Saskatchewan, and the airport hosts a lot of Saskatchewan air show on an annual basis. The airport, that is normally known as YQR, has a unique maritime terminal design. When you go there, as you can see, there are many design in there. Looking at some of the history of Regina Airport. The airport in 1927, the Regina first airport was opened. Actually, in 1927, the Regina first airport, Scarlet Feet, was opened. And in 1930, the Regina Municipal Airport established on the current site that they are. And in 1932, the first commercial flight began with prairies Air. So during the World War, in 1940, the Regina Municipal Airport was expanded for military operation, as I said before, and in 1941, the airport became a training center for the Commonwealth pilots programs. And in 1942, runway expansions and new hangars were also constructed. In 1957, the new terminal building got opened. When the expansion was being done, the new terminal building got opened. In 1963, it was renamed from Regina Municipal Airport to Regina International. The expansion and modernization of this airport occurs within the 1970s and the 1990s. In 1970 was when the runway 3,000 meters was expanded. And in 1980, the terminal renovation and expansion continued to expand. And in 1990, the airport authority established what we now know as Regina Airport Authority that controls the regulatory system of the entire aerospace in Regina International Airport. Also, there have been recent developments in the 2000s up to date. In the 2000s, especially in 2005, the new air traffic control got opened, and in 2008, the terminal operation and expansion have progressed forward. In the runway, 2011 was resurfaced and renovated at the same time. Now, but in 2015, the new cargo facility that we now at the left of the airport got opened. Now, in 2019, precisely, the airport celebrated 80 years anniversary. So, there are notable events that happened in this airport. In 1954, the first commercial jet airline landed in this airport, and there are notable events such as the visits of the Queen Elizabeth II, Pope John Paul II. They also visit this airport. And Queen, in 1965, Queen Elizabeth II visited Regina International Airport. In 1984, Pope John Paul II visited Regina Airport as well. In 2020, the airport was rated one of the best airports in North America by Skytrax. That's the huge rate award that the terminal was gifted. Now, there are a lot of future plans that are going on, and when you go there 2-3 years ago, it's not what you see, because there's always ongoing modernization, renovation, and expansion of the facilities. Now, because of the regions where the port is, the Regina International Airport has some operational challenges in terms of the harsh weather during, harsh winter, during thunderstorm and fog that affect the operation, and that sometimes leads to cancellation of flights because of the unique weather of the prairies regions. And of course, there are limited air traffic control hours, because the hours of the air control, I think, is between 6 and 10 o'clock. It's not 24 hours 24-hour operated airports. So the runway also is a challenge to this airport, because the single runway has a limited taxiways capacity. So in terms of infrastructure, the aging terminal building in 1963 was periodically stopped. So let's talk about the revenue that this terminal or this international airport generates for the city of Regina. And I'm going to be talking about the three sources of revenue. Number one, the aeronautical revenue generates about 55 to 60% of revenue for Regina International Airport. And this revenue covers the landing fees, the terminal fees, security fees, and the fuel fees. And when we are talking about the non-aeronautical revenue, that is the second revenue that Regina or a typical airport will generate. For Regina, the non-aeronautical revenue generates in between 40-45% of the revenue, which comprises of the concessions. The concessions, we are talking about the dining, the retails, and the parking, what have you. And then also entails every form of advertisement, every form of car rentage that is going on, cargo handlings, and also as well as ground transportations. This the list that I just listed, they are under the non-aeronautical revenue that is being generated. And the other stream that the airport generates is under the property leasing, the interest, accumulation income, grants, and subsidies that are being paid into the airport authorities. So when you look at the entire revenue or financial performance of this airport, going back to 2020, the airport generates as much as $43.6 million on an annual basis in total. And the aeronautical revenue of revenue streams generate as much as $24.1 million of these $43 million, which is around 55.3% of the total revenue generated. The non-aeronautical revenue generates about $18.2 million for the airports, and that totals about 41.8% of the total revenue being generated. Don't forget, I talked about the other revenue that are generated by property listing, income, grants, and subsidies that are being paid. Those are roughly about 1.3 million, which is just more or less of 3% of the total revenue that this airport generates. The net income, however, is around 2.5 million after taking out the operational expenses. And the passenger traffic also really went down in 2020 because of COVID that we all experienced. It went down by 2.5% as against 2019. Historically, when we look at the general revenue that this airport generates from 2015, 2016, 2017 down to 2020, we will see that there were significant growth that the airport was experiencing until 2020 when COVID hit all of us and the revenue dipped down to 0.5% of growth. However, when you look at 2015 to 2016, the revenue was generated was around, it was from 36.4 million to 38.4 million, which was a revenue growth of 5.5%. In 2017, the airport generated $40.3 million, which was also as well 4.9% growth. In 2018, the airport generated $42.1 million, which is also as well 4.5 million growth that the revenue experienced. And in 2019, it grew up to 43.4 million, which was about 3.1 growth in terms of revenue. However, in 2020, because of COVID, we dived down into 43.6 million which is just roughly 0.5% of the total revenue. So quick statistic here. The quick statistic here is that the airport site itself is about 1,113 acres, and the terminal size is 154,000 square feet, with, as I said before, runway of 3,000 meters and 2,400 meters separately. And of course, the airline operates 5 major airlines, but 2 are the major ones. The 3 are the smaller airline, which is Air Canada, WestJet, Sunwing, Flair, prairies, and Airways.